guys, thanks for tuning in. Here's another video. This is going to be about the student protests, but before I get into it, just wanted to let you guys know, just was in Spain and Morocco, so it was an interesting trip. I always like to travel a few times a year to get out there and see other places. Brought back home this Carlos Garcia, Nicaraguan, and I'm drinking the Remy Martin. So, this one, obviously, with the title, is going to be about the student protests that have taken over the campuses, not only in the United States, but in Europe as well, in Australia. So I'm going to dive right into it. So, first of all, you know, whether it's Dr. Phil, or whether it's Victor Davis Hanson, or any big time, fake public figure has ever tried to go and talk to these protesters, most of these protesters won't even give a public statement. Now, when they are confronted, it's very obvious that most of these people don't know what they're talking about. For instance, they don't know that Gaza has been under Hamas control since 2005, that the only election that they've ever had, they literally killed all the PA, the Palestinian Authority, which was the opposition in Gaza. They haven't read the Hamas charter, which the first one that was written in 1988, which is vehemently anti-Semitic and has, quotes from the Protocols of Elders of Zion, which is a totally discredited, fictitious book written by the Russian czars in the 18th century. So, you are dealing with a cadre of people who are grossly misinformed, and who are, in large part, jumping on the bandwagon of free Palestine because it's hip, it's popular. They've been disturbing graduate commencements. They've been blocking the way of students getting into their classrooms. And just one case was UCLA. I believe there were 64 people that were arrested at protest, 40 of which were students, and then there were some outsiders in that weren't students. One second, I'm just going to grab my lighter here. Okay, and these other protesters from the outside, we don't really know who they are, but it has been said that George Soros has been funding a lot of these protests, and a lot of the professors that are behind the protests are, very left-wing Marxist type of professors. And in the case of UCLA, of the 40 students that got arrested for various amounts of misdemeanor charges, the 200 professors have signed on a petition to rescind or reverse the initial decision by the school to suspend them. So, these professors are very much in favor of these protests. I have nothing wrong with protesting. The First Amendment and the Third Amendment. The First Amendment, the right to freedom of speech. The Third Amendment, the right to an assembly. Very much, believe in that, even if I don't agree with the person's opinions. But I do have a problem when, and not to say that it should be illegal, but that it should be combated, because we have, in large part, foreign students who aren't Americans, who are on a student visa from oil-rich countries that are protesting and saying that they support Hamas, which has been declared a terrorist organization by much of the international community, praising Hamas and yelling out various vehemently anti-Semitic things like "gas the Jews," or I think they depicted a pig holding money or whatever. So, which is I suppose an anti-Semitic canard of old. So you have this going on, and when they start to burn, there was I think this one case, and I don't know if it was Georgetown or somewhere in North Carolina, maybe. I forget the school where they were going after the American flag, and that fraternity defended the flag and actually stopped the protesters from doing so. This is just insane. You have people who are grossly misinformed about a very, 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 and I've said it before, a very complex issue that requires a lot of studying and a lot of research and a lot of intellectual energy to decode what has happened. And you have this motley crew of gays, white liberal Marxists, haters of anything that has to do with white people or America or conservative values, and they're finding brotherhood with their DEI brethren and mentors and professors, and that is somehow now coalescing with Islam. And it's like, try going to be gay in Palestine or Iran or any of these other places that you guys say you love. They don't know about the facts. They're grossly misinformed, and they're unfortunately a big voting bloc. But you see, there's a silver lining in this. Most people in this country don't give a flying fuck about this issue. They don't care if to them this is just this is an age-old, one second here. This is an age-old conflict between two warring people, and it's never going to end. And we shouldn't get involved in, it's just an age-old religious conflict. That's the opinion of most Americans. But what's happening, though, is that these protesters are now attacking the flag, and they're attacking order. Most Americans really just want order. They want to be left alone. They want their rights protected, and they want, a secure country. And when you start to deteriorate order and substitute it with chaos, and you go after the flag, people are going to get pissed off. And that's what these protesters are doing. They're starting to piss people off that really didn't care about this issue at all, until when they see that the American flag is under attack and the Death to America slogans, now you start to piss people off. And when you do that, you're going to have people automatically side against you. So look, I mean, we could talk about October 7th and Israel's response. That's for another video, but you know, from a strategic standpoint, I think it could have been handled differently. Although I totally understand why Israel did what they did. Not saying that it was the smartest or the most strategically sound response, but I get why they did what they did. But just keep this in mind. They didn't respond until October 27th. Really, they didn't really start ramping up their response until almost 2 or 3 weeks after October 7th happened. And there were already protests, but they were more celebratory in nature. You know, they had an attitude they had an effusive attitude towards what Hamas did, and it didn't really start becoming more militant and more combative until after Israel started responding. So, you know, just keep that in mind. And keep in mind too, if you look at the protests in Sweden, for instance, you see that the Palestinians that are protesting, or the Palestinians and their supporters that are protesting there, are all waving Palestinian flags. You don't see one Swedish flag there. The host country that took in many of these disgusting refugees and gave them welfare, gave them government services, housing, okay? And then you look at the Israeli side. Yeah, they have Israeli flags, but they also have Swedish flags. They're respectful of the country that they're living in. So you see, to me, that's the difference. I don't think that Israel is without blood on its hand. I don't think that they aren't a very corrupt country as well. But I'm going to have to pick one. I think it's not really, to me, being pro-Israel as me as it's being anti-Palestine, and especially anti-Hamas for sure. That's how I would categorize my own opinions. I'm anti-Palestine and I'm anti-Hamas. I'm anti-Palestine protesters. I think they're despicable. I think that if they want to protest, they should be fucking protesting in their own countries, but they don't. And I know that because I just got back from an Arab country. I also went to Tunisia. There was no protests there. And I was in Tunis, and I was in Marrakesh, and I was in Casablanca. I didn't see anything. So I'm telling you right now, these people are cowards. These people are full of shit. And most of these white liberal students, even blacks, whatever they are, Americans who are protesting with them, you know, they wouldn't last 2 seconds in one of these countries. Let me tell you. So that's my opinion about the protesters. I think they're biggest scumbags, crocodile tears. You know, they're not to be respected. They're not doing anything honorable, and that's my opinion of it. So you guys keep on watching, and I'll keep on making more videos. Thank you.